The transition between our working life into retirement can be some of the most exciting years of our life. But from a financial planning standpoint, those years before retirement and as you enter retirement can be some of the most stressful times of your life as well. After all, you're getting used to a completely different way of managing your household finances. And in my work with people who are getting ready to retire, there are 3 common mistakes that I see people making that I'm helping them correct. And so in this video, I wanted to share what those 3 mistakes are and offer you some resources that might help you avoid them if you are getting ready for retirement. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Mark Walhout. I run an investment management and financial planning firm called Walhout Financial. I work with people who are working towards building their retirement plans or who are currently retired. And I created this channel to share ideas that are working for Canadian retirees every single day. If you like this video or you want to get more videos about retirement planning dropped in the top of your feed, consider hitting the subscribe button and leave me any questions or comments below. The ideas that I get for creating new videos come from my interactions with my clients that I talk to every day, but also through questions that I receive from friends and people who watch these videos. So thank you for that in advance. So now we're going to talk about the 3 mistakes, and I'm going to give you some resources that are going to help you avoid these mistakes for yourself. So the first big mistake that I see people making is naturally wanting to take their government benefits too early or as early as possible. And the big benefits that I'm talking about here are the Canada Pension Plan and old age security. And in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about Canada Pension Plan because the value that's a potential value that's attached to delaying is the highest of the 2 benefits. But I think the natural inclination that I see retirees sort of taking is they're going to collect these benefits as soon as possible without really knowing the impact of what that decision means for their long-term financial health. And luckily for all of us, there's a fantastic tool out there that was created by David Field, a financial planner, and it's called the CPP Calculator, and it's a free tool that's available to everybody. And I'm going to show you the impact of the decision to take CPP as soon as possible when compared to the alternatives. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at. So I did a quick calculation using David's tool. And this report basically is showing somebody who's going to collect CPP. They're going to work until age 60, and they will have accumulated 60% of the maximum CPP benefit. So they're eligible for 60% of the benefit, which is around the national average, what Canadians actually collect from the CPP program. So if they were to begin their benefits at age 60, they would receive around $501 per month. And the natural inclination for most people is to take that benefit as soon as they get it. Service Canada is now, I believe, sending letters out to retirees. And I know that because I've gotten a couple of calls from clients saying, hey, I got this in the mail. Does it mean that I have to start my benefits now? But a lot of people take that benefit as soon as they can get it. And that's kind of natural human nature. If you get a letter in the mail that says, hey, you're eligible for this benefit, you're going to take it. But what not everybody appreciates is that by waiting to take Canada Pension Plan, you can enhance the future benefit by a tremendous amount. And so what this tool from David Field shows you, the CPP Calculator, it shows you how much your benefit could mean for you long range at different claiming ages. So the first line here in our chart shows somebody collecting at age 60, so they start as soon as possible. The second line here shows somebody starting at age 65. And then the third line is somebody who's starting at age 70, which is the longest that you can delay taking Canada Pension Plan. And someone who takes their benefit early thinks, hey, great, I'm getting this benefit. I don't have to wait to collect it. But let's assume that that person lives a long, healthy retirement, which we all hope for. And, statistically speaking, if we're in good health, we can expect to live, into our late 80s, early 90s. So let's say our prospective retiree who's making this decision at age 60, let's say they live to age 90. The retiree who started their benefit at age 60 collected $186,000 in real dollars over the course of their collection period from age 60 to age 90. By delaying to age 65, that benefit rises to $245,000. And by delaying to age 70, their benefit rose to $280,000. So this difference between collecting at age 60 as soon as possible and delaying that benefit until age 70 for a Canadian who's collecting 60% of the CPP benefit, it's a $94,000 difference in total benefits over their lifetime. And that's in real dollars. Now think of that for a couple. Now we're talking about nearly $200,000 in real dollars difference in taking at age 60 versus age 70. And so I highlight this because this is a decision that has huge financial impact, but I see a lot of people that are entering retirement, their default mode is to collect these benefits as soon as possible. In an effort to not make this video too long, I didn't go into the old age security program in detail. It does also have some benefits for delaying taking those benefits till past age 65. 65 is as soon as you can get it. You can push collection of that to age 70 as well. But it's the same principle, this idea that if we get while the getting's good, we'll take it now. But there is some power or benefit to waiting, or at very least breaking out the sharp pencils, as we say, to figure out, does taking sooner make sense for me, or should I delay and take later? So that's the first big problem that I see retirees making. The third big mistake the second big mistake that I see retirees making is they're entering retirement without a really clear idea of what their actual spending needs are going to be. And this is very normal because when we're working, if you're working and earning enough income that you have more money at the end of the month than you do at the beginning of the month, you're used to living a certain lifestyle, and you still have excess at the end of whatever time period. You may never have made a budget in your lifetime or had to stick to a budget. And so it's pretty common for people to get really close to retirement. And then when I sit with them and I'll say, can you talk me through what your needs are going to be as you enter retirement in terms of monthly spending? Sometimes they'll look back at me and say, like, we have no idea. Like, we don't know what we spend each month. And then they get a little bit embarrassed about that. And I say, look, it's common. A lot of people don't go through this exercise of budgeting as they enter retirement. But knowing where your money's going in retirement and planning for that is really, really important. It's important so that we plan properly, so that you don't retire before you're ready. Meaning, if you design yourself a retirement monthly income plan that's going to deliver $6,000 of after-tax money to your bank account every month, but it turns out that your real needs are closer to $7,000 or $8,000, well, we've got a problem. So it's good to know in advance what that looks like. The second reason that budgeting, and I'm going to show you in a minute the way that I do it, and I'm going to share some resources below. You can get these resources yourself and use them for your own planning. But the second reason is the way I like to plan is based on needs and then wants, or core expenses and discretionary expenses. And having those two things split out will help you identify areas where, if it does get a little bit rough out there, if you do need to tighten your belt in retirement, we've pre-identified some areas where we can cut back. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to share with you just a simple sample retirement report or budget that I put together. And I just filled this in today just to kind of give you an idea. This is not me saying how much retirement costs, but just an estimate for just any family, right? And the way that this spreadsheet is built out is it's broken into categories. So there's housing, food and personal, medical, transportation expenses. To me, these are the core expenses. No matter what happens, we want to make sure we provision for these for your plan. And that comes up with a subtotal at the bottom. And again, totally hypothetical case, it's just over $5,000 a month of core spending needs. And then on this side, we have more discretionary items. So things like entertainment, travel, and then additional fields. Again, I'm going to put the spreadsheet below. You can have it. You can use it for your own planning. And then it spits out a number of discretionary spending every month. And in this case, it's $3,000. And going back to what I was just saying, when we're building out a plan, we also want to, in advance, identify areas where levers we can pull if things get tough. So intuitively, we all know that life can sometimes throw us curveballs. And when we're retired, that is still the same thing. Life can change, and sometimes your needs can change. So in the event that things get tough in retirement, it's nice to know in advance, okay, well, we've created an $8,000 a month after-tax income for this particular retiree. Again, totally hypothetical. But if things get rough out there, we've already pre-identified that there's some spending in this budget that we could peel back on temporarily in order to kind of get things back on track. So the first mistake is taking benefits too early. The second mistake is maybe not thinking or specifically planning in detail around what spending is going to look like in retirement. And what I like to say to people who are getting ready to retire is build out this budget and then try to track your own spending. Can you live within this framework? Try it for a few months before you make the leap towards retirement. And if you can't, then you've got some important information, and now we can readjust the plan to sort of factor that in. And then the third mistake that I see people making as they approach retirement is their perception of risk as it relates to their investment plan starts to get a little bit out of whack. And so when we're working, and I'm going to explain what that means. So when we're working and we're invested in a portfolio of predominantly stocks and maybe some bonds and cash, and we're saving every month in that portfolio, there's a very good chance, or it's a certainty, that anybody who's invested over a long period of time and is approaching retirement, they lived through some difficult market conditions or difficult market environments. And what I see when people approach retirement is their mindset around that investment pile changes. They look at that as a pile of money that they have to protect from any volatility at all costs. And their attitude is, I need to protect this nest egg and I can't endure any volatility with it. So they look at the market every day, or they watch financial news. They look at their portfolio and they think, I can't deal with any kind of volatility here. So I want to try to either tactically shift my portfolio in and out of the market based on what I'm reading or what I'm seeing on the financial news, or they want to shift all their investments to really conservative investments like GICs and cash. And so the way that I try to talk them through this is by trying to expand the time horizon in their view of what we're trying to build towards over their 30-year retirement, and then also expand the definition of what we think risk is really in reality. And so that's a lot of words, and I love pictures, so I'm going to go back to the screen and I'm going to share with you what I mean by that. So this is a chart. It's part of my investment philosophy presentation that I walk all my clients through before they start working with me. And this presentation will be below as well if you want to grab it and use it yourself. But basically what we're looking at here is the market through time. So we're looking at the market from 1985 through the end of 2021, and we're showing three asset classes here. We're showing treasury bills, so super short-term government bonds, short-term world government bonds, global bonds, and we're also showing equities, right? So the natural inclination of somebody who's looking at that investment pile is, I want to protect my investments from any volatility, and I want to be predominantly in things that don't move around. And really that leaves you with really short-term treasury bills. It might leave you with things like GICs. But the problem is, over long periods of time, the risk profile of that pile of money will change. If all that we're invested in is super short-term GICs or cash, as we get into a 2-3+ decade retirement, our big risk is not the volatility of the portfolio, it's that we've drained that portfolio and we don't have enough assets in that portfolio that are going to be able to outpace inflation and also fund the later years of our retirement. So what is the solution to that? Well, one of the solutions to that is to continue to own equities, which is this asset class here. And over really long periods of time, even though equities are volatile, they move around a lot more than fixed income, they're the best inflation protection that many of us will be able to hold on to over long periods of time in our portfolios. So while it's not intuitive, especially in years like last year where markets were volatile and we had declines in global stocks, even though that is the case, many retirees that I work with, we still want to and need to own a healthy dose of equities in our portfolios in order to make sure that we have cash in our portfolios for the second and third decade of retirement and fund those later years to keep up with inflation, as uncomfortable as that is. So those are really the three big mistakes that I see people making, three potential solutions. So those resources are going to be below. If you like this video, consider, again, subscribing to the channel, hit the like button, leave me any questions or comments below. There's more resources in the comments section, including everything that we went through in today's presentation, and a survey that you can fill out for a free retirement health check. Thanks for watching this one, and I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Take care.